start. Tonight we have a special little treat for you. Instead of starting with the, hello, somebody called me? I'm losing it. Instead of starting with the interview, we're going to start with a reel of TV commercials that Jerry did while he was in New York. And so you'll see some 32-second commercials. I think there are 4 of them, and you'll just get a feel for the difference between the print advertising and the commercials, because when he was in New York, it was in the late 60s, and TV commercials were really getting very creative and almost like little films. So what we're going to do is I'll turn down the lights, I think. Should I do that, Sandra? Yes. And then we'll watch that. It'll be quick. And then at the end of the interview, before we open it for questions, we can run it again, because you might want to see it again, just to remember, because he's going to talk about making these commercials and the difference in being an art director, who you work with, how you do it. Okay? So let me just see if I can turn down some of the lights here.
Tom knows.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Tom.
Maybe that outside light.
Thank you, Tom.
Perfect.
Tom, can you close the outside door, please? There's a lot of light coming in there. Thank you.
Okay.
For rent. Need a new roof or a new room? We have remodeling money for rent. Need to get away? We have vacation money and boat money and mobile home money for rent. For a convenient way to finance just about anything at low bank rates, see Bank of America. We have all kinds of money for rent.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the amazing all-in-one checking plan from Bank of America. It contains much more than you might expect in a checking account. For just $2 a month and no minimum balance, all the personalized checks you can write. And Bank of America's check guarantee card, probably the handiest check cashing ID you can carry. Bank of America's overdraft protection, backup money to guard against bounced checks. Our handy time saver statement, you'll find it very easy to balance. Bank Americard, honored around the world, and all the Bank America traveler's checks you can use with no service charge. The all-in-one checking plan, Bank of America's most useful services. We put them all together in one convenient plan for $2 a month. Now, that's a neat trick.
Sign me up.
The Bank of America all-in-one checking plan combines our most useful services into one convenient account. For just $2 a month, no minimum balance required, you get all the personalized checks you can write, a check guarantee card, a Bank Americard, our time saver statement, overdraft protection, and all the traveler's checks you can use. For just $2 a month, you get them all together in the Bank of America all-in-one checking plan.
The way some blonding products make you look, you'd need a whole new lifestyle to match. Since most women live a bit more naturally, Clairol makes Naturally Blonde in 18 totally realistic shades. For lasting color that even covers gray, use Naturally Blonde Lightener and then just shampoo in the toner. Naturally Blonde. It's natural, like you.
Arnold and me were driving in the country, and we saw this great barn. And like we both knew it'd be a groovy place to live, right? So we made a few changes, but you know, without losing the character. And like it's great. Most of the stuff we found in somebody's attic or at auctions. And Arnold had this terrific idea. He covered the whole place with carpets made of acrylan. And I mean, like, it's not boring or anything, because acrylan comes in millions of colors and styles. Well, like over 3,000, the guy said. And get this, Arnold went and covered the barnyard, too. Do you believe it? Outdoor Acrolan. The same stuff we used in the bathroom and the kitchen.
And here we are, me and Arnold, and the kid.
If you'd like a closer look at Acrolan, send for this booklet. Write Monsanto, 350 Fifth Avenue, New York City. Better yet, go to your favorite carpet store. Acrolan and Outdoor Acrolan. It comes in over 3,000 choices.
Ever since brave Achilles was done in by a weak heel, every man has fought a losing battle with his own Achilles heel. Now, man finds the strength he needs. In Adler, wear dated socks of Acrolan acrylic. They're reinforced with nylon all the way up the heel, so they can stand up to the toughest wear. Adler's invincible socks. Enough colors for Achilles' army. So strong, they're guaranteed for a year's normal wear. And mister, that's no myth.
Adler socks, just one part of Burlington Industries. If it's anything to do with fabric, we do it at Burlington, and we do more of it than anyone in the world.
This is Stockholm, where you can see more beautiful blondes than anywhere else in the world. Somewhere in this crowd are 3 American imposters, here to prove that Clairol's Naturally Blonde Shampoo and Toner gives you color so natural, you can't tell it isn't. Color that keeps its color through just about anything, so you can do anything a natural blonde can do. Which of the Clairol girls? Sorry, if Naturally Blonde doesn't give them away, why should we? Naturally Blonde Lightener and Shampoo and Toner in 18 natural shades, so you can do anything a natural blonde can do.
Even in Sweden.
When Carol Maloney's stove caught fire, she was covered by Fireman's Fund Homeowners Insurance. When Norman Funk's car was stolen, he was covered by Fireman's Fund Auto Insurance. When Maceo Keeling was hurt at work, our workman's compensation covered him. In fact, this hat covers just about every business or personal need. And if it didn't, they wouldn't be laughing now. Fireman's Fund American, with agents in the yellow pages. When Jack Haggard's kitchen caught fire, he was covered by Fireman's Fund Homeowners Insurance. When Barbara Page fell at work, she was covered by Fireman's Fund Workman's Compensation. When George Marshall's car was hit, our auto insurance covered him. In fact, this hat covers just about every business or personal need. And if it didn't, they wouldn't be laughing now. Fireman's Fund American, with agents in the yellow pages.
The world has changed mightily since 1911 when Challenge Butter first came on the scene. But that Challenge Elk still stands tall for quality, fresh, natural quality you can taste on all the good things butter makes better. Families love that 100% pure butter flavor, and Challenge is now California's favorite butter. Sometimes it seems quality is an endangered species, but the Challenge Elk is making a stand.
Christmas. Sometimes we all need help getting ready. That's where Bank of America comes in. When you open any checking or savings account, B of A will make a donation to Toys for Tots. You get more branches, more versatile ATMs, more convenience, and needy children get Christmas toys. So take it from an expert. It's nice to give. It's nice to receive. It's even nicer to do both. I know you're running around like overworked elves now. You shop till you drop. But I know about 2 special gifts. Now, Bank of America will give you a cash bonus when you open a $10,000 time deposit for 6 months or longer. And they will also make a donation to Toys for Tots. So ask about B of A's double Christmas bonus now. It's nice to give. It's nice to receive. But it's even nicer to do both.
Today, more More than 9 million Californians depend on Bank of America to do the job for them. This year, they'll use our Versateller ATMs over 150 million times at more locations than any other bank offers, and get checking service so good, it's guaranteed. We'll lend them nearly $15 billion to finance everything from their business to the place they call home. And for many loans, you can apply by phone and get an answer the next business day. Millions of Californians will use their B of A savings to make their dreams come true, and their Bank AmeriCards to enjoy more of life's pleasures. Across the state, around the clock, B of A is doing the job for more Californians than any other bank.
Doing the job, Bank of America. Doing the job.
Wow. I'm gonna say a couple of Where do I get that? Not at Bank of America. I'll have to see the later.
Okay, so we're gonna get started. What do you think? Pretty cool, huh?
Very cool.
Jerry has been really the epitome of a person who followed all the ways to make it to the top. Because he started drawing cartoons as a child, and then he played baseball, and he's going to talk about all these different phases of his life. And so I think it would be good to start at the beginning, but then we're also going to talk about not only what he's done and where he's done it and what he's learned, but actually the history around that time, because it goes from the 60s to 20 years ago when he started painting instead of being an art director and doing all the hands-on work that he loves in addition to directing. So why don't we start with where were you born and how you happened to come to California?
Going way back. Born in Waukegan, Illinois. Is this here? You can hear it?
Yeah, we hear it.
Here.
We hear it.
Okay. Okay. You'll have to tell me.
Let me make sure you didn't.
We hear it. It's on.
No, you didn't.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah, all right. Look at me. All right, I was born in the Midwest, back in Waukegan, Illinois, just north of Chicago, and was there until started high school out in California, because my dad worked for Johnson Outboard Motors in the factory there in Waukegan, and he became a salesperson on the West Coast. So we were moved in 1951 to Redwood City, and it was the greatest thing that happened to me. You know, they were a little worried about moving. I said, "You're going to California and Hollywood?" I thought it was all movies. So anyway, so I started high school in Menlo Park and was there for the 4 years, and my parents bought a home right there in Menlo Park, and it was a good life. Funny how it hits you. I really had great parents.
Very fortunate.
Yeah. I didn't expect that stuff to come out like that. Anyway, you're all here. So, yeah, good life. I went after high school, which I played a lot of baseball, and that's where I was able to be very successful in high school and was on the All-Star team. And my dad, of course, was baseball, and the sign over there, the one that's a team picture, I'm actually the bat boy sitting in front. I'm about 4 years old, and that's his team on the picture on the left. So my whole life was baseball to begin with. But, you know, and I also had, at that time, I had a lot of problems with hearing aids or hearing. So I spent a lot of time in bed. So I just started drawing. I started copying the comic books, you know, the Superman and Batman and that stuff. And so I always had an interest in that. So after graduating from high school, a couple of friends of mine who had played baseball with me, they were going to San Jose State. And I said, okay, you know, I didn't know what I really wanted to do. My parents said, yeah, let's go to San Jose State. And they had a baseball team, so that was another reason I decided. So I wasn't a PA major or anything like that. I became a major in commercial art, which is a regular major for them at San Jose State. So there I did some of the artwork you see here is both from San Jose State and later, after graduating from San Jose State in 4 years, I made it in 4 years. And started to work at Channel 11 in San Jose, a local TV station. It was actually, the owner was Wonder Bread or something like that. It was really a small station in San Jose. And they had a record hop program just like the major one back in Philadelphia. So I worked in the art department on the staff there for a couple of years. It was all union wages. It was a great place, great place to work. And right there in San Jose, so I was familiar to a lot of stuff. And I actually bought myself a TR3 convertible, which, yeah. So I had that, I was zipping back and forth. My parents lived in Los Altos at the time. And being there is kind of a dead-end job because it is union. And I had friends that had all gone to art school in Los Angeles, called the Art Center in Los Angeles. In fact, our friend Jim that did the interview, Jim went to Art Center before me. I didn't know him, but that's the same school that we went to. And so I went down there to do some graduate work because at San Jose State I had a BA degree in commercial art. And I could have stayed comfortable, but I really wanted to do more. I wanted to get involved with television because I heard this is where it should be. And at the time, New York City was the place to really be. If you're going to do major advertising, that was a spot that everybody talked about, especially for television. And that was the Mad Men years when I went back. So anyway, I was working in San Francisco with my friend Hal Riney at BBDO. And I was cable carring and all that and working, and like I said, I worked for him for about a year. And people started saying, well, you know, if you're going to New York, you better go now. I was about 28 years old at that time. So my wife, got married, Jackie and I, and decided that's what we're going to do. So we drove. We took big chances. It's incredible to think that, I took it by word of mouth. I said, okay, we got to go. She had never been east of Tahoe. And we drove across country in her Chevrolet Impala. And of course, I had been across with my parents from Illinois, so driving there was not a big deal for me, but her eyes really opened up. And because she was born in King City, down by Salinas. So here she is, we're new bride, and we drive across to New York took our time, stopped in Illinois and visited my grandmother there. And when we got to New York, the major thing there was I had one name to look for, had been recommended from Hal Riney in San Francisco. He said, if you're going there, hopefully you can get in with Doyle, Dana and Bernbach, which was the agency that was the hottest at the time. They were doing all the Volkswagen ads, all the Polaroid ads, all American Airline ads and things like that. Really a hot agency. And so I go in, get into New York, and we did have a few friends that had moved from Art Center. So we had a couple of people we can crash with for a day or two, then finally found an apartment. But, so I went into Doyle, Dana and Bernbach, and I asked to see this guy, Jack Mariucci. And he was like kind of a starter guy like me. I didn't know him, but that was the name I was given. And I took my, as they say, your portfolio, your book, that was samples that I had, and I went in to see him, and he was impressed, and he knew Hal Riney from San Francisco. So if Riney had recommended me in to see him, I had that in, which, very important to have that first step in. So he saw my stuff and he said, hey, the Monsanto group are in the other side of the building. They do Clairol advertising, Monsanto and Burlington socks. Those agencies are huge. I mean, they're big. Every floor is a different department. And so anyway, he took me around to meet the head of the Clairol department. And the guy liked what I had. And so he said, okay. He said, we got an opening. Can you start this week? And it just happened like that. Timing.
Jerry, talk a little bit about how you guys managed handling Manhattan, because you not only did you get this job right away, but you really loved being in the city, right? It was a different experience.
Oh yeah.
From San Francisco or LA.
Yeah, well, New York is the place to be, and to have friends there that had already been in art school with me. So it was none of us were making a great deal of money, but we all got together and did things and went to the museums and did, on weekends, we'd rent a car and go out to the end of Montauk and things like that. So New York City is, with Broadway and show business and all that, and it's there. I mean, everything is there. And it was right when good music was coming, the Beatles were going, and everything was rocking and rolling. And so again, I mentioned so many times in life is timing. I think it just happens for all of us. I mean, we could turn around the corner someday and meet the person you're going to be with the rest of your life, or you could miss them by getting in a parking store. I mean, timing is incredible. So anyway, New York was the place to be, and it still is. If you want to be really in the right kind of business, fashion business, it's still the advertising business. Of course, it's changed so much now with computers and so forth, but yeah.
Well, tell us a little bit about how you describe the television production work compared to the print work you had earlier with advertising in print in San Francisco. So, and you kind of decided, even though you were really smitten by having TV, the opportunity to do TV work, you in the end, you said you liked print work better. Can you talk about that a little?
Sure. Well, you don't start doing television right away. I got there in 1968, and at the agency with at Doyle, Dana Bernbach. So I was an assistant art director. You do a lot of the grunt work, even though, you know, you don't get paid a great deal of money because they know that you want to be there. So, you know, it's building yourself for future. And again, in the business, especially back in those days, Bill Bernbach was really creative, because the big difference with him was Doyle Dane and Bernbach really believed in the creative department, writers and art directors. Let them do, you know, solve the problem. And they had a bunch of good clients that said, okay, we're not going to come to this agency unless we let you do the work. Because some agencies, the client dictates too much, and that's why you don't see good advertising. So again, I just worked on a few print ads for a while, some trade ads. I did some stuff for a nylon tire stuff for Monsanto was part of it. And so I got to do print, and then the opportunity came up to do that one, the barn commercial, and that was Acrolon carpets. And actually, that was a start. It was a simple commercial to do, and just by having the couple at the very end with the goat helped. But that was a print, and then that got me an opportunity to. The next thing that came down the line was Burlington Socks, and
talk about that whole process of coming up with the concept and working on it, and who you had to hire to do the statue and all that.
Yeah. Well, so just quickly, you know, when I say I'm doing this, I'm working with a writer too. I mean, all creative departments, you work, one art director works with a copywriter, and if you get assigned to another job or another thing, you might work with another writer. It depends, but all the creative departments, they break out into certain groups. So you're assigned different things, and if something opens up for you at the time, that's when you go, oh, a chance to do this commercial for Burlington Socks, and which was a Doyle Dane commercial. And so,
whose phone is that? Does anybody have the phone on? We just keep hearing ringing.
I have it on airplane. I have it on it, sorry.
Okay.
So this opportunity came working with this other lady copywriter, and so the Burlington Socks people said, well, you know, it's a full range of stuff. It's really great, but when we talk to them, because it's always best to go and talk with the client, or, you know, agencies have group, well, anyway, sales people back and forth. That's not the right term. But you get the information from the client, and if you're really fortunate, you have a product difference. A lot of times you don't. You have to create it. But with Burlington Socks, they told us they're, you know, a wide variety, but the heel is reinforced. And so I'm talking to the writer, and I said, the heel is enforced? What the hell? Is it Achilles? Wasn't his big thing that he needed protection for his heel? So we kicked around this idea with Achilles statue, and we actually had a guy in Brooklyn build this statue. It's a 6 foot tall, and it's all paper mache, wire. The guy, you know, you can imagine a little Brooklyn sculptor that we contracted, and the production people contact him. I'm just part of the team. So we find this guy, and he says, okay, I'll build one for you, you know. And we went out to his studio about 2 weeks after and he had the thing almost finished, and the thing actually comes out, he's got long spikes that go in there. And, but that thing, it's some people. All right, so the commercial you saw was built around, this big statue was shown and used. And at the very end of the commercial, when you pan down to the blue socks and the arrow comes in and supposedly breaks, those are my feet. Because we had to do an insert, right? You know, to the close-up of it. So I got paid as a model, blue socks. So at the very end, if we look at it again, you'll see that that's me on the statue. And when the commercial was over, I got that guy and I put him in my office. And when I moved back to San Francisco, he came with us. We packed him up. The trucking company said, "What, you guys are kidding." But they really took pride in, because it was such an unusual thing. They wrapped it up really good, and it survived. And that thing actually was in my office in San Francisco, and then I finally moved it to my home in Sacramento Street, and it kept hanging in there. It had a few nicks and tears, but it was amazing how it held up. And when I bought a home, or Jackie and I bought a home in San Anselmo, we actually moved it there. And I had it in the entryway. And people would come in and they, you know, holy shit, what is this? And they said, is it all there? I said, yeah, his thing is underneath there. It's all there. Look, it's a real guy. So, actually, as I decided to sell my house, this guy got out up front in the driveway on San Anselmo, and I put them up, you know, for sale. Anybody want them? And a surf shop in Fairfax bought them. They bought them, and they used them just like that, but they replaced it with a surfboard, and they had it outside their surf house in Fairfax. Right, and then finally, you know, rained and everything, but they bought it for, I don't know, $50 or whatever at that time. But
well, that's a great story. But you know, I was thinking, there's so many. It'd be nice to share, I think, how you did a couple other big projects where they required a lot of teamwork and a lot of travel even. And the two that I'm thinking of, one is the Clairol. So it'd be nice for you to talk about that, and then after that, maybe the Viking Cruise Line, because both of those, Jerry really, part of his idea was get to travel.
Yeah. It's an easy sell if you get a client that like the Naturally Blonde commercial, which again I was working with the same writer that I worked with on the Achilles. Again, sometimes the solution is right there. If you've got a product like Naturally Blonde, okay, it's there, right? Now, where are the blondes in the world? Sweden, right? Everybody thinks they're there. Most of them are dyeing their hair anyway, but you don't know that. Anyway, so we said, why don't we we'll take 3 American models here that are using the product. They might, you know, legally you have to make sure you're not fooling, but they use the product. We cast them in New York and flew them over. The whole production crew goes to Stockholm, Sweden, and I'm flying in heaven, man. I'm thinking, this is great, you know, get a great trip to Stockholm. And so we had these girls, and like you see in the commercial, we let them do their thing, and the cameraman was really cool. He had a handheld camera, obviously. And so we just let them wander on the street, and we shot different things and doing different stuff. And we mixed them in with all the kids and all that stuff, writing on the streets. All of that is real stuff. And, you know, at the end of the commercial, we just said, if you can't tell who they are, we're not gonna tell you. And it really sold a lot of naturally blonde stuff. And, you know, but again, easy sell, because the client, once you say, we're gonna take 3 people to Stockholm, Sweden, and, you know, you guys probably should be there, you know, as the creative director from Blonde, Naturally Blonde. So the client was an easy sell, because they came with us, and a great company. We were fortunate to work with some really good people. That's another great thing. And to have a sense of humor. I mean, that's...
When you're traveling.
That's
Well,
amazing.
you know, Jerry, before you go on to Viking, one of the things you've said when we've had our conversations before tonight about your work is that you really, like when you're with the Doyle gang, Bernbach in New York, it's the biggest agency in the world. It's the top of the line. As you said, it's very creative, and people look at it as they're proud to have that, to purchase the work by that agency. So you were talking about you got to have a great photographer. You have to have all the pieces have to be excellent. You can't just try out somebody. So that's one of the wonderful things about having the budget to go get the best, right?
Yeah, as an art director in an agency, you have sales reps come in, make appointments to come in you and show you samples of their photographers or samples of their designers or whatever. So art directors, it's always good to keep seeing new suppliers. You know, because you want to find the best photographer for if you're doing a food shot, you know, or you want out on location with some of the auto accident stuff for Allstate, or State Farm. Anyway, yeah, it's again, you don't, so much of it is depending on having people around you, and you can work as much as you want, and Doyle, Dane and Bernbach gives you time, not maybe so much now with computers. The thing has changed a lot. And that was part of the reason I got out of the business in 1990. I could see it coming in, and my thing was right from the start, I love to draw, I love to come up with the ideas, I love to do print advertising where you actually go out, work with a photographer on location, take photographs, come back and put it together. It's up to the art director to pick all the typeface and design the page the way you want it. And of course it goes back for approval from the client. And if they approve it and everything goes in, then it gets produced in a magazine. So an art director with print really has some more control. Television, it can become a little big. There's a lot of people on location, you know, yeah, but it's like a mini movie set, you know, and it's all right, but you don't have quite as much control. So that's why I prefer doing print advertising.
Jerry, talk about the culture at the production companies, because you've mentioned that you know they always have a bar. They, you know, by 4 o'clock, if you're done with your work, you start drinking. And you know, it's a situation where it's like showbiz. It's about, you know, there's a lot of jazz to it. So why don't you just, that's a different environment than the print world.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, you go on casting when your commercial is going to be done for Naturally Blonde or for that's any other thing you're going to Burlington. You go to the production house that's being recommended to you, and you again, you can say, no, I want to see some other samples, another reel or whatever. So it comes down to the writer and the art director picking the production house that you want to use. And then once that's gone, then you set a date to film the commercial, do it whether it's at Disneyland or whether it's in Stockholm, Sweden. It's all taken care of by the production people. And you just kind of, once that's done, you're pretty much there to make final approval. When you're on location or so forth, and you're casting, and maybe that model's not what you want, or maybe the location's not what you want. So you and the writer and the agency have the final say for that. But you want to hire good production people, and then you don't have to worry about stuff. So you always shoot with the best people you can afford. And of course, sometimes the budget won't allow it. But it's...
Well, Jerry, tell us about the Viking, because that was a second big one, and I just like that you got to be a photographer on that trip as well.
Oh, yeah. Talk about timing again. So I worked from 66 to 70 in New York with Doyle, Dane, and Bernbach. Those 4 years right with them, and that's when I did those, got into doing a couple of commercials, and I did some nice print ads too. But the thing was, our daughter Nicole was born back there in 1968, and so we did not want to stay in New York. We had done what we did. Jackie had family in California, and I had family in California. So we always thought, okay, we're going to go there, do their thing, but we always knew we were going to come back. So I went into Doyle, Dane, and Bernbach, and after finishing a commercial, and I gave my notice. I said, we're going back to California. And the head of the, well, he said, where are you going to work? I said, well, I don't have a job, but I'm going back. We do have family back there, and we want a better lifestyle. You know, New York is fine, but we have a 2-year-old girl. We want to raise and grow up back in California. And he says, boy, wow, okay. You know, people don't normally leave Doyle, Dane, and Bernbach, but, you know, I see your reasoning. And, you know, he also, at that time, he said, yeah, I commute in a train every day from Connecticut. And he said, you know, I really envy you. You know, you're in your early 30s and you're going to do it. He said, I'm here. I'm locked into a lifestyle back here, which he had a great one. But the point is, we didn't want to do that. We wanted to come back before we locked into buying a home and all that stuff. So, okay, long story. We drive back to California, and my parents, like I said, are in Los Altos, so we dropped off stuff there, and I had my book, Portfolio Samples, and the first person I called on was Hal Riney, the guy that I left from earlier. And I said, Hal, I'm back from New York, and I said, can I come in and show you what I have? Because I said, you know, I got some TV now, and I said, so, you know, he said, sure, come on in, Jerry, you know, that's good. So I went in to see him, and had a couple of interviews with him, and also the other, you go to a few agencies around San Francisco, and some of them, you just kind of go to get the experience. You don't really want to work with them because they're not doing the kind of work you want to do. So if you're fortunate to be able to pick and choose a little bit, and that's why you go and work for agencies in other parts that are good, because that is always with you. When you have your stuff laminated and all that, it's there. So that's your book, that's your resume. So Hal Riney said, God, Jerry, this stuff looks good. He said, right now we don't have anything open. But he said, he actually pulled out a piece of paper and he said, he wrote down like half a dozen or 8 advertising agencies in San Francisco. He said, you know, Y&R and J. Walter Thompson and all. He said, this one agency, Cunningham and Walsh, I think they're getting a new client. So make sure you get over and see them. So again, I made an appointment with Cunningham and Walsh with a recommendation again from Hal Riney. Got in and showed them my stuff, and they were impressed. They said, geez, this is great stuff. We're interviewing somebody else too. You know, you don't know if they're doing that or what, but you know. So I said, okay, you know, I'm down the peninsula and right for now. So if you want me to come back for anything else interview, let me know. And he called me back. His name was Fred Manley. He was the head of Cunningham and Walsh. And I went in and showed my stuff again to some other people. And they said, okay, yeah, we want you to start with us. And we would like you to work on Fireman's Fund Insurance, Pendleton Woolen Mills, the St. Francis Hotel, Royal Viking Cruise Line. And I said, okay. Are you kidding? So they were just getting the ships being built in Finland at the time. And so they didn't even have a big ship to work with for photography. So we had to work with models and do stuff, but they had to get advertising going to get people booked, you know. So when the first cruise ship came available, we were forced again to fly over to Bergen, Norway, and go through the fjords for 10 days in the weather like this, which is unusual, on this brand new ship called the Royal Viking Cruise Line. And I brought a photographer with me from New York, Elliot Irwin, who had just passed away. Wow. Recently, he's got great books on dogs. He was worked for Time Life for years, and he was based in New York. So my attitude was, if we're going to fly over to Bergen, Norway, and do all this stuff, we need somebody that's an international photographer. And he knew everything to set it up ahead of time for us. So we flew over there with him, and he did the still photography, and I did a lot of shots with my camera too. And there was a PR group also on the cruise ship, because again, this is the first time the ship was available for any kind of photography. So they opened it up to travel writers and everybody, because they wanted all the publicity. So we went in and out of the fjords, like I say, for 10 days, taking all these photographs, and it was all, you know, there was no payment. Nobody was paying for anything. And so at the end of that, I flew back to San Francisco with all the pictures, and we produced some print advertising back there, some of the brochures and magazine ads. And so, you know, it was a hell of a trip. I mean, you know, to be able to do that, just very special.
Yeah, this is wonderful. Well, you know, we're coming up on almost an hour, so I think I'd like you to talk a little bit more about the process. I know you've talked a little bit about it, but just to close this part, when you were working with Hal Riney, for instance, first off, you happen to be working with a great talent. So what are the kinds of things you learned out of school that once you were on the job, which were, besides the fact that they opened doors for you, but what did you learn to change maybe the way you looked at your own work, if that's comfortable?
Well, he was a very demanding guy. He did all the voiceover stuff for when Reagan ran for the Good Morning America commercials. That's Hal Riney's voice. And
Because Jeremy can't hear you. No, just push it up closer to you.
so anyway, what you learn is that you kind of have to be self-disciplined. You want to hire the best photographer. You want to work with the, maybe you work weekends, maybe you take a lot of your photographers yourself or photographs, which I love to do, and it also is a selling job. If the client is still paying me, but I can get it done faster if it's location stuff. But what a person like Riney does, he just disciplines you. You gotta, because he's demanding, and I have, in fact, I think Jim knew Hal Riney too, and when Riney passed away about 7 years ago now, and he had a big funeral at the Presidio, and so all these advertising people showed up, and I went there, and I mean, it was a great reunion, just because everybody played softball together, they worked together, they would work all long hours, but they would party, they would have great times, and they all came, and Riney, of course, had passed away, but his reel was running, because he had done so many commercials, so many great print ads, and I talked to Jim and a couple other people, and I said, why did you come? And he says, I just wanted to make sure he was dead. So, yeah. And I want to mention something quick while I'm thinking about it. Our friend here, Malcolm, I worked with a great photographer, Walter Swarthout, in San Francisco. He was one of the first photographers I met when I came back from New York. And actually, Walter had gone to San Jose State, and I didn't know him at that time. And he went on and opened up his own advertising or photography studio here in San Francisco. So when I came back, Walter came in, just happened to come in to see me at Gray Advertising, and showed me his stuff. And I really liked it right away. And Walter was just a great guy, young guy, a little about my age, Rob.
And Malcolm knows him.
And Malcolm, that's what I'm leading to. I didn't know it at the time, but Malcolm was Walter's assistant in the lab and also in doing television or print advertising, preparing the photographs and stuff. So that guy, he came in to see me when we had a Granny's Attic sale, and he said, I see a photograph of, it looks like Walter's work. And I said, yeah. And he said, yeah, remember me? And I didn't quite remember him, but he was there and he helped. So that's the type of thing, you want to get good people. And Walter was a great photographer and a great guy. Unfortunately, he just passed away about 8 years ago from a heart attack. But anyway, again, that's part of the...
Well, I think we're going to close this part, but if you have any questions, please shout out.
Yes. Did you do any painting, like doing, actual paintings? Did you try painting?
Oh, yeah.
Well,
These are all my
Those
paintings.
are all his.
Oh, those are your paintings, okay.
Yeah, they're
Well, so why don't you talk about that a little bit, how you switched?
yeah, when I,
When did you do the painting?
well, some of them are done when I was in high school. Some of them are done at San Jose State. Most of them were done when I was at Art Center in Los Angeles, because I majored in art design, and you take painting classes and all that, and life drawing classes and all that. That's a real, it's a real intense school. It's the place to go. And again, when you come out of there, then that opens the door for you to some other place. So all these paintings are acrylic or acrylic. acrylic paints, so that I paint in my apartment, but it doesn't stink, oils, you know. So Acrylon or acrylic, I keep saying.
Someone earlier asked if they were for sale, any of them.
Well, I haven't even thought about that, but you know, it can certainly, in fact, anybody's welcome to come up to my apartment anytime and look. I've got some other stuff up there too. So, you know, if you don't see anything today, then, you know, just don't.
Well, and I just want to add that every single thing we posted here was made by Jerry. So the paintings, the drawings, whether it's watercolor or acrylic, all of these placards, these were billboards at different times. These are just little pictures of the billboards that were huge in the cities. So he's and then back on the back on Madeline's easel, we have an acrylic over waterfall, and with a woman standing at the base of it, and that's on the big easel. And that's one of the things that Jerry loves to do. He doesn't use photography to paint from. He decides what he wants to paint and lets it flow from him. So he's not trying to show a certain place. It's not a landscape that he knows. It's in his mind. And so one of the things that I find so interesting is the modalities, the different modalities that he can work in. So you weren't really painting that much. Well, you did do some. There's a couple pieces that are older, like the one that's in the slideshow of the Golden Gate Bridge in the foreground. That was done at the Art Center when he was in his 20s.
That's right over there, next to Ozzy.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and so,
That's their flowers.
I mean, one of the things that I think is so important to realize that people never seem to acknowledge is just raw talent. Because not only hard work and connections and mentorship and, you know, discipline and all those things, but you have to have the talent. And one time I asked Jerry, how did you get the confidence you have? Because a lot of people struggle. Poets, you know, writers, painters, you know, people that draw, they're insecure, but you always felt comfortable with what you were doing. Yeah, and that's all he'll say is, yeah. Really.
So is this butter, challenge butter?
Real.
We've all had in our refrigerators hundreds of times.
That's it.
You drew that?
No, this is their packaging. It's, I think the main place is in Fresno or something. So Challenge Butter was my client.
I get it.
They wanted to do advertising. They did print advertising. The outdoor billboard was, they wanted to do a highway billboard. And I was working with the writer Warren Peterson at the time, and we said, well, let's not get real tricky with it. I mean, the whole point is that it's a high quality, so why don't we just use the reindeer in there and say standing for quality? So that made the outdoor billboard. And I had that painted. That was painted by an artist. But they, of course, they work from this. Now, for the television commercial, we use the actual package. But yeah, sometimes that's what I say. The solution is right there. You know, if you want a quality product, the client is already, that's their main thing. They're standing for quality. And that's why at the end of the commercial, the little reindeer comes up and he turns and it's a little bit animated. I know. In fact, if we rerun any of the commercials, there's a couple of things that I goofed on that I can point out, which is kind of funny because, and it also is interesting because, like I say, well, anyway.
Well, let me just key to the one thing. Did anyone here notice in the Santa Claus commercials? Did anyone notice that there was a live deer in the shot? How many people saw that? Okay, so see, only a few. That's what Jerry's talking about. He was really upset that he didn't put a spotlight on that deer.
Yeah, that was shot in a big studio, down at the Universal Studios in LA. We went down there and had the little set built for Santa with the fireplace and the whole thing. And Santa was great. I mean, he's a great thing, but he had a hard time with the reading. He kept flubbing stuff up, and so there was the reindeer is right there. It's arrived, trained, and he's right there, and which is a funny, nice little touch. But I screwed up and didn't double check enough. They didn't throw enough light on him, so he would be more readable. So you don't really, unless you're looking for him, you don't see him. And that's a charming little thing, that it should have been more evident. So,
Well, and at that point, with that kind of production budget, you can't go back in and do it over, right? No. But he's bothered by it to this day. Any other questions? No? Okay, so have the refreshments and enjoy yourself and feel free, because Jerry's gonna hang around.
yeah, I'm gonna walk around, and anybody have any kind of questions, feel free to ask. And,
Thank you.